So I'm going to do an insight today. Again, I've been directed to the universal laws today. I've been directed to a book called The Light Shall Set You Free, and I found it on like YouTube today, and I've just haven't listened to it like around like the audio books, and it's a director, it's like a channel of like Kathumi, who's like ascended master, and also like a universal teacher, and there's somebody talking about that. So I've been directed to that today, but it's quite interesting because my thoughts that I woke up with today were very much like I've had like a discussion with my wife today, and I got a little bit frustrated with a few things, which is normal because we're in a human sort of like body, and we get sort of like caught up with stuff and frustrated with stuff. But sort of like within like a couple of minutes, I felt like I moved into a different space. And then all I was talking about is that how to express yourself in a different way, and it's like you started talking about sort of trying to express yourself in like in a loving way, in a way that's open and sort of like understanding. Um, and as soon as I started to connect into this, and I started to listen to this like podcast, or this not this podcast but this audio book this morning, this was exactly the transmission that was coming through with kind of this stuff. So again, it was like very much in tune with what I was feeling this morning, and then it's like I was feeling something, and then I was directed to something, and I think this is how spiritual communication works, and this is the synchronicity of it, but also the essence and that source working through you. Whatever you're reflecting in your life is what I feel I'm being told. Yeah, there'll be a master or there'll be a teacher or a guide that will then direct you to the knowledge or the wisdom that you need. So it's about being open at the moment and knowing that those signs are coming through, because a lot of us are sort of like waiting for something to happen when it's already here and it's already around us. So how the guides and the masters and the beings and the angels are working with you is they are seeing what you're reflecting out of your essence, or your what vibration you're reflecting, and then they're harmonizing it and adjusting it with teachings and knowledge and wisdom around you at the moment that is needed for you. And I feel this very okay because it's all about sort of like opening up your, I say like your heart center, but to me the heart center is the essence, it's the source. So this is what we're trying to get into. We're trying to open up to this, and this is very much what's going on at the moment. And I feel this quite strongly as I start to connect into it. Like I've woken up this morning. I've got my selenite, and I've got like a clear quartz tower in my hand, and I'm just using these just to clear and cleanse and move some of those blockages away, because it's about coming on those higher vibrations, those higher frequencies. But the book was also talking about, or like the audio book was talking about vibrations at the moment, and with the shifting coming up for many people, it's intensifying. And as you start to open, then the transformation becomes more intensified. So there'll be like the vibrations will heighten and shift, and as that happens, then the energy will shift, but also your it will quicken in a sense. So you'll have to sort of like really start to really look at how you adjust your frequency and your vibration to dissolve those things and dissolve that old dimensional reality of the 3D dimensional reality as you start to move towards the 5. And it very much sort of like again confirmed what I've been feeling for a long time, where there's a massive shift at the moment. There's a shift with like souls that are ascending and opening up to the higher vibrations and the frequencies, yet there's a big collective of souls that are still really connected to the old frequency of like the third 3D reality of like materialism, the physical world, the objective world. And it's not about that, it's about the energetic world and the light frequencies and the light frequencies, but the spiritual world of light and energy that's within us as well. It's about connecting to that source again, that infinite light, that infinite energy, and this is what this time's about. And I feel this is why these universal laws are so important at the moment, because they're making us, they're allowing us to remember those frequencies, those light, but they also allow you to remember that universal law of oneness, of harmony, where we connect to it again, and we know and we remember, and like our source energy awakens to that, remembers it's part of this source energy, of this source, this spiritual universal law of oneness, that we're connected to this infinite universal sort of community, and we're not the only life and we're not the only beings here, but we've got all our guides or all our spiritual teachers that are working around us, and the planet is going for this shift, but we're not doing it alone. We're being asked to awaken, and we're asking to create and activate and start to really vision a kind of different reality, a different sort of um, a spiritual frequency, but also creating a new spiritual dimension that hasn't been on this planet for a long time, which is like that fifth dimensional reality again. And it's very much around that. And I feel this is what this book's coming through. So the light shall set you free. It's about opening, awakening, and allowing that to flow through you. For a long time, we've become disconnected from it. We're not in the darkness, but we haven't been in sort of like in we've not been really sort of awakened to the light of consciousness, which is what we're doing now. We're trying to shift our consciousness to move to a higher and lighter consciousness as these spiritual beings, and use our consciousness in a way, because all our thoughts, emotions, and feelings have a creative sort of spark to them, but they also manifest. And this is where these universal laws come in again. So it's like the universal law of vibration, compensation, correspondence, all of those kind of laws. So compensation again is it connects to the inspired action. It also connects to sort of like perpetual transmutation of energy, where we're sort of like constantly changing. The rhythm of the universe is constantly changing, and we need to flow, connect, and vibrate with that frequency to flow and change with it. And so as stuff starts to go, so the universal law of inspired action is a really, really good one, because you go within inside, you feel that source, you connect to that inspired action, that inspired guidance, that source energy, and then you reflect it out. And once you reflect it out, your inner reality creates your outer reality, which is again the universal law of correspondence, which is the universal law. And again, it's like as within is out, everything is interconnected. The universal law is of oneness again, so there cannot be a separation. So what's being felt inside is also being felt, is also sort of being created and manifested outside. So it's so important about what you feel inside, because that creates your outer expression. So the world will look like on the outside of what you're feeling within. So this is why it's so important to go within, to connect to that source, connect to that higher vibrations, those higher outcomes, because the outer world will only reflect the inner world. And it's hard because obviously there's times where we're stressed out, we're triggered, and it's about still trying to go above that and bring that harmony in. The higher the vibration, the higher the frequency, the higher the expression of life and light, which is really, really important. So obviously we got the universal law of correspondence, compensation again, which is what you reap is what you sow. The law of attraction, the law of rhythm as well. So the universe moves in rhythms and cycles of circles of death and rebirth. So again, it's about sort of like when something's been when something's happened. So the universe moves in cycles and rhythm as well. So the planet is shifting and moving at the same time, and it's about us flowing in with that again. And when stuff comes up for us that doesn't serve us anymore, it's about dissolving it, shifting it, letting it go, surrendering to it, and then allowing that new energy to come in, because we need to harmonize with the new frequencies that are coming in as well. Again, I'm seeing a gold pyramid as I look at this, so I know the pyramid is like a portal to the higher realms, the higher understanding, the higher awareness. Gold is always symbolic of infinite wisdom, infinite knowledge, but it's also the source energy to me. It's also about alchemy, creation, and the golden pyramid brings wisdom as well. Like really, ancient wisdom. It's bringing that ancient wisdom back again. And the golden ages are very much around that sort of. The gold is that healing color. It very much sort of heals again. So, and I'm seeing that within my mind's eye, and now that's been sort of it's now been surrounded with so like you've got a golden pyramid in the center, and now there's pink all around it. So the pink is again universal harmony, universal understanding, peace, balance, and it helps obviously, but it uses this again, this universal sort of universal energy of love. But love is this source. It's the source. Source is the energy that connects us all to all beings and all things. And when we start to understand source energy, we cannot hurt something else, because we know that being is the same as us. So by hurting that being, we hurt ourselves. And this is one of the teachings that Christ tried to teach. In that sense, that everything is one, everything is like part of the source. So in that sense, when you really know universal law of oneness and you know creation, by hurting something else you're only hurting yourself, because actually all things are interconnected, all things are connected. So it doesn't help to sort of like have bad intentions at something else, because also if you have bad intentions against something else, again it's the law of compensation. What you reap is what you sow, so the universe will reflect that. So if you hurt something else or hurt someone else, then at some stage it will come back. It will come back to you, and it will manifest in your light, in your energy, and you will feel that pain, or you will experience something on that similar, because the universe will only reflect what you're sending out there. So try and remain on those higher vibrations, those higher um, frequencies, and just send out that light, that energy from source. But these universal laws are so important at this time. I know they've been around for so long, and people have talked about them, but really apply them to your life, because at this time in this process uh, of our shifting, our development, they're really important, because they bring us back into harmony. They allow us to work within that divine source, that divine presence, that divine harmony, and it's so important at the moment, because this is the only way we're going to shift. When we start using those principles and those laws in our lives, the planet will become more spiritual, you'll become more spiritual, we're living more in harmony, and this will be the creating of this new dawn, this new day, this new dimensional experience, and reality and vision on this planet is all around those kind of laws. The rest of the universal beings know this. They live within these laws, as they are part of trying to keep us in harmony with the divine, and it's really important that we do this. So that's the message.